Good evening, good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to our service this evening. We have several special things this evening. First, we have our full choir with us, and we are very, very happy to have you with the extra addition of a younger voice. And may we always hear the voices of young children, babies in particular, at our services. This is a very unusual and special thing for our congregation, where the average age is 107 or something like that, only slightly exaggerating, but welcome. And as I said to Mark and Allison, the two proud parents, I love to hear the voices of children. And if we hear any voices during the service, that will be beautiful. We also are gathered here this evening at a time, I don't want to say a time of peace, but maybe a time of respite. I sighed a sigh of relief when a ceasefire was announced. It's not the end of the problem. It's not a solution to the problem. Who knows what's going to happen next? But at least there's some respite. Let us begin our service with the singing of Ma Yafeh Hayom. Let us now continue with the singing of the Shabbat candle blessing. For those of you who have your books with you, I'm now on page 6. May the door of this virtual synagogue, the virtual door of the virtual synagogue, be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hope to nurture. May the door of this virtual synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block, too young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Page 20, the Chadodi.
Shabbat
offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love, we offer thanks and blessing, O God. Let us turn now to page 28. Please rise for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, u'vitvuna meshana itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים. We continue now with the singing of Ahavat Olam.
Beit Yisrael
Ahavacha al tashem mimenu la'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. We continue with the Shema. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated, and we continue with you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart.
You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your strength, with all your being.
Words which I have loved you is Bind them as a sign upon your hand.
Let them be a symbol before your eyes.
Inscribe them on the doorpost of your heart.
And upon your gates. Your God.
The middle of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and your love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Milchamot.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגילו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, aporei sukat shalom aleinu, va'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim. Page 44, Yismachu.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, 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 שבת בקודש, עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, 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 שבת בקודש, עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת.
People of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day God ceased from work and was refreshed. Page 46, we rise with the tefillah.
Mashiach. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל הטוב, רב להושיע מוריד הטל. מעורר חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל לרחמים, צועד עובדים ורופא חולים, ומתיר עוזרים, ומגלם אמונתו בשם יומם, מכל העמות גבורות, ולילה לילה, מלך מביט ומחיה, ומצמיח ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה, אדוני, מחיה הכל.
Page 52, אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יחללוך סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. I'm in the middle of page 55. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai, deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 56, Ritzeh. page 59. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shemcha, ulachana ele hodot. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people forever. For you are the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and every moment with your peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Let us continue now with a few moments of private silent prayer.
Shalom, shalom, Mikrahot. O Yahweh, say shalom aleinu. Velkom Yisrael,
Page 253, prayers for healing. Misha Baruch Avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham Yitzchak ve'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, Hu Yivarech et Acholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. We pray for all those who are wounded physically, emotionally, spiritually. We mention in particular members of our congregation could use an extra prayer at this time. Ralph Einstein, Stuart Tauber, Helen Ditton, Stuart Sinai, Bert Silbert, Rabbi Jonathan Katz, Violet Spivak. And for those of you who have additional names, say them out loud now or say them to yourself. We ask that the Blessed Holy One grant everyone a refuah shlema, a quick and easy recovery. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion that their health be restored. and their strength revive. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us all say amen as we sing together. And at the bottom of page 253, a prayer for those who are doing better. And also, this is a prayer you say when you are faced with danger and then no longer in such danger. May we say this blessing on behalf of all those who can now have some respite with the present ceasefire. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shegimalanu kol tov. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has bestowed every goodness upon us. May the one who has bestowed goodness upon us continue to bestow every goodness upon us forevermore. Page 258.
Avinu Shashamayim, Tzar Yisrael v'Golos, Barek et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmikat Geulateh. Again, Alecha, Be'efrat Haspecha, Utros Alecha, Alecha, Sukkot Shalom. Yes, I will release, O God, inheritance, everlasting joy, and let us sing,
I have attended services where there's a camera behind the shoulder of the person leading the service. And most dramatically, during the Torah reading, you can see the actual text of the Torah scroll as it is being read. My more traditional nature says, you don't do this, but my more modern nature says, what a wonderful way to bring the Torah reading closer to the people. For the individual who has an aliyah and is called up to say the Torah blessings and stands right there and sees the Torah scroll as it is being read, it is an entirely different experience than just sitting in the pews and listening, or even following along in a printed book. Not everything in the Torah scroll looks alike. In this week's parashah, we read, among other things, the priestly benediction. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. I'm purposely not translating it. I'll talk about that in a few moments. The priestly benediction stands out from the block of text. It's that important, it's that significant. It stands on its own to a great extent. Maybe it existed as a separate text before everything else was put together. On another level of understanding, if you're reading that in the weekly Torah reading, it is easy to find your place because it's not in the middle of a paragraph where you don't know where to begin. The priestly benediction has been studied over and over again. Each word has special meaning. And I say this not just out of any kind of religious commitment, but just an effort to understand what those words mean. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. I'm going to limit it to that this evening. Each word is simple. Blessing, guarding, protecting. May the Lord bless you and keep you. I don't know what keep means. Maybe it means protect. But as you have heard me, I think, translate this, the Vav, which we were all taught in Hebrew school means and, may not mean and in this context and in many others. May the Eternal One bless you by protecting you. That is the blessing. It's not just a spiritual idea. It's not just to make you feel good. It's an act of protection. And v'yishmerecha, shin mem resh, to guard, to protect. If we hire a security guard to stand outside our building, which we certainly did when we were having services in the building, that person would be called a shomer, the same root. We ask at this time, we ask at all times, that the Eternal One protect us. And depending on which century you are living in, Jews have understood these words in different specific senses, but no contradiction. You can have all kinds of meaning at the same time. At the present time, I ask, I pray that God protect us from military enemies, from the physical attacks, whether they are rockets from Gaza or rocks and Molotov cocktails tossed down on Jewish worshipers from Al-Aqsa. If I lived centuries and centuries ago and believed that there were such things as evil spirits, literally, not figuratively, there are texts that say we ask God to protect us from those evil spirits in the world. Today, we may translate that or secularize that and say, may we be protected from all the evil ideas which float around about us in the world. We live in difficult times, but some of you may say all times are difficult. Some are worse than others. I said at the beginning, I view this as a time of respite. I am not so naive to say this is the beginning of a new world and a new peace, especially since there have been essential declarations of war. We will not rest until we have accomplished the following, coming from the rulers of Gaza. But we take advantage of every respite we can get to rebuild, to refortify ourselves, just to get a rest. And if I may speak for myself, and I'm sure for many others, it will be, I hope, a relief to have that respite. We hope there will be a different world ahead of us. Maybe we are very fortunate. It could have been much worse. The Arab states did not get militarily involved. We have that, and that is maybe a glimmer of hope. And the other glimmer of hope is that so many of us who, and I know members of our own community who are expecting family members to travel from Israel to the United States at this time, having nothing to do with all the conflicts, where trips had to be postponed and nobody was sure until the individual got on the plane, that maybe some of that uncertainty is gone as well. And I know many people have had to postpone trips, but we have lived in a time, 14 months now, where we haven't known from one day to the next what we can and cannot do. I hope that there will be a better day. I'm not naive to say that this is the beginning of a new chapter. It's a beginning of a repeating chapter. I'm cynical enough to say that this is going to happen again. Prove me wrong, I'll be very happy. But may these days be days where we think that we can take advantage of a few moments of peace, to rest, to rebuild ourselves physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Through all of this, while friends and family have been in shelters from the rockets, we hope that they made the commitment, which we know they did, not to give up, but to continue the fight for the preservation of the Jewish people and everything that we hold dear. May we continue to have the strength to do that, and may God bless us by protecting us. Let us now turn to page 283. Please rise for the adoration.
God, and
At the top of page 291, a prayer before the Kaddish. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought fullness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. To each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone and every life finds purpose. We remember the members of our congregation who passed away recently. We mentioned Jonathan Herand, Ronald Lebo, Sophie Pollock, Lee Black, Martin Ross, Al Grossman, Norman Gross, Florence Haar, B. Einstein, Dolores Scholdinger, Judith Nelson Feldman. We mention also those whose yard sites occur at this time: Robert Babowick, Hazel Einhorn, Clarence Freund, Lawrence Hacker, Betty Hess, Jane Isaacs, Joseph Lefkowitz, Rose Lefkowitz, Dr. Robert Katz, Hannah Klein, Max Levy, Marie Miller, Hyman Pollock, Paul Schaffman, Bella Seufer. We remember also all those who lost their lives in the horrible events of the past couple of weeks. Let us turn now to page 294 as we rise for the Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Ve'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon of yomechon v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael. V'galah u'bisman kariv ve'imru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabba Mevarach le'alam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shmei dekutsha brichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiran ve'alma ve'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim. Aleinu al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. May the source of peace grant peace unto those who mourn and comfort the bereaved among us. And let us all say Amen. Please be seated. I have the honor of making announcements this evening. Service tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. The class will meet on Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock. There will be a board meeting on Tuesday afternoon. We are looking forward to services next weekend. I don't think there's anything else of particular interest that is out of the ordinary coming up this week, but I encourage all of you, look at our weekly e-blasts. They are full of information and opportunities to take advantage of all kinds of wonderful things. I want to express my own thanks to all of our musicians, choir members, children of choir members, graced our service this evening. And also I want to thank Anne in advance for the closing song which she chose for us. We need to keep in mind that these are very, very difficult and challenging times. Still, we gather together in public worship. however difficult and challenging it is, even though we are not yet quite in our building, but that day will come soon. So let us conclude. And before we do, let me just give one more, how shall I say, prayer of hope for the future. Because however cynical I may be, and I admit that I can be very cynical, especially at times like this, if I didn't have hope for the future, I wouldn't know what to do. And then hope for the future is exemplified in my saying that we're going to be back in the building soon. I can't give you a date yet. We still have to do some construction work on the sanctuary. You know, we're putting an extra door in as you face the ark. The door to your left, you know about that door. We're putting one into for the right also for security reasons. So if God forbid anything happens, it's easier for all of us to get to safety. So our concluding song, thanks to Anne, may we be a channel of your peace.
Make me a channel of your peace. When there is hatred, let me bring your love. When there is injury upon Adonai, and where there's death to faith in you.
Make me a channel of your peace. Where there's despair in life, let me bring hope. There is darkness, only light. And where the sun is ever drawn. Make me a channel of your peace. Your peace.
May we all have a Shabbat of peace, happiness, good health, and safety. May it be uneventful. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha. V'yasem lecha shalom. Good Shabbos, Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat